Hey there, Susan Dene, owner, starter, founder of Go Spiritual Life, a company that I established for the sole intention of helping women in recovery from addiction and alcoholism take their sobriety to a new level. I am primarily focusing on ladies who have had some time in the rooms. Well, time in sobriety, not even necessarily the rooms, but women who have already been through the early stages of emotional ups and downs in sobriety. I focus on that core group primarily because I've spent so many years helping and guiding women from early sobriety all the way up through, long-term sobriety, that for me to start a coaching business focused on that particular demographic, I have no desire to charge money to somebody in early sobriety. I think it would take total advantage of their emotional state. It's not what I'm about, it's not who I am. And so I have no desire whatsoever to coach or try to sell to somebody who just hasn't quite been sober long enough and hasn't been through the core, grueling emotional work that it requires to stay sober. And so if that is you and you are in that space, hope to God you've got a mentor or a sponsor or somebody who's walked that path already that is showing you how they did it so that you can iron out all the stuff that we drank and used drugs over. So anyways, but I wish you well, and maybe down the road, if you're still looking for some guidance, I'm here. But for you ladies who have been sober for a long time and the sobriety has petered off, I mean, that can happen. We are very motivated in the beginning of sobriety. We kick ass in the beginning of sobriety. It's what we do. We have been given a second chance on life. We love it. We live it. We go all in most of the time, unless we relapse, and that's another video. So, but if you hung in there, and let's say you've got 3 years sobriety, 4 years sobriety, 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, whatever, sometimes what happens in long-term sobriety, we get all the gifts back. We get the relationships back, we get the jobs back, we get our health back. And then, we kind of, life becomes okay. We get a lot of gifts, we're grateful, we know what it's like to have been through the stuff, right? But then we kind of get in this phase, and if you go to AA or you go to the rooms, you'll hear it like, it's kind of funny, we stop seeing people around 5, 10, 15 years sober sometimes. Usually they say the 5-year mark. I think the 5-year mark's a sweet spot. All the gifts have come back. We don't think we need to really lean on anything anymore, and so we tend to rest on what we know, and all our kind of stuff starts coming back in the picture, and we've abandoned the foundation that we started. Maybe we picked up a few of the tools and we carry those with us, but the real work, the real grind is gone. We're not interested in going all the way back to the beginning because now we've got 5+ years sober. So now we're kind of like in this space where it's like, what the hell do I do? What the hell do I do? Part of my story is I switched it up around 6 years sober. Got real passionate about just the spiritual program of recovery. Kind of restarted the whole thing and put me in a massive service, and I can talk more on a different video about that. But the thing that I have found that's been the most important for me, and I'm 17 years sober, is to continually stay motivated and with a spiritual foundation. And so what I hope to do is, if you're one of those ladies who, you're like, hey, I've got time, I don't want to go sit in an AA meeting every other day. Quite frankly, I still go to AA. I'm going to be full disclosure. I still work with a sponsor. That's my story. But if you're somebody who doesn't choose that, and I do think we all have our own way of doing things, and even if you do choose it, right? I still work with the business coach, and I still do stuff. And things are tapering off, and you're starting to find yourself complaining, and you're starting to be like, God, I feel kind of gray, like there's grayness in the clouds. I'm not as happy as I used to be. Where'd my spunk go? Well, sometimes we just need to jump back in. And so that's what my business is all about, is helping those ladies in recovery who've had a lot of years reignite and get started and get back into kicking some major ass. Because those of us in recovery from alcoholism and addiction know we run strong, we run to extremes, and man, when that stuff is inspired action, we kick some ass. And I think, because I'm obviously partial, I believe anybody can benefit from coaching. You don't just have to be a person in recovery. I'm passionate about that because that's what I've been in for over 15 years helping women with, and I personally, that's my story. So having said that, this is my first video in a while, and I'm going to read you something. I did this woman workshop back in August 18th. Totally on fucking fire, dude. Did my thing, went out, awesome stuff. It happened to be a lot of women in sobriety in the audience, but it wasn't just catered to that. A couple coaching programs for sale, right? Like just totally tore it up. And then after that, I went on vacation with my kids, went on vacation with my husband, and then I went in like this crazy and awesome spiritual journey, like total spiritual journey, kind of unplanned. But I started reading an autobiography of a yogi. I got Esther Hicks, or listened to some of that. So whether or not that's your belief or not, I'm not a church goer, but I can listen to sermons. I don't show up every Sunday. Like I said, I got my own spiritual beliefs. I'm more about energy, karma, stuff like that. You don't have to agree with me to have me help you, but ultimately, if you've been in recovery, I already know you've got a belief that something bigger than you is running this thing, because you have to wrap your head around that in order to stay sober, right? Hopefully. So anyway, point of this video. So I've had like these almost 2 months of not really leaving the videos, not posting my online business, not advertising it, and just kind of sat back. I mean, I still have a day job, and I've been in and out, beating myself up a little bit, pulling out of it. And so I'm sitting down tonight because I got a coaching client about coming over here pretty soon, and I'm reviewing all the notes from our prior session, kind of going through the deal. And I read something I wrote, and I think it was after a meditation one of these days within the last month or so. And I'm going to read this to you because when I read it to myself, I found it very inspirational for me. And I'm reading this to you as a suggestion to you. If you're sitting there and you're kind of just, not feeling the enthusiasm, kind of struggling to get to the next phase of whatever, maybe you're just fucking tired, man. We get tired. We get tired of always trying to self-improve if that's what we've been doing, and we kind of forget why we want stuff, right? And in a healthy way want stuff, not the destructive selfishness stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. But just because you're a recovered alcoholic or addict doesn't mean that you don't deserve stuff, right? And so I'm going to take you out of, if your mentality's been, selfishness, self-centeredness is evil, I don't want to talk about it, I'm going to challenge you, because if you've got years of sobriety, I'm just going to say you should be capable of determining what evil selfishness and self-centeredness is, and what selfishness and self-centeredness in a healthy way is for you. And so I'm going to read this, because this was some of mine, and just see it. And so the suggestion is, go back and look at your wants. And if you believe in meditation, and I so hope you do, because it's such a wonderful tool, do a really good meditation session, and then get your notebook out. And as soon as you come out of that thing, you're focused going in, wanting to figure out what it is you want today, at this age, at this level of sobriety, who you are today, what you want, and then write that down. Here's what I had. I want to be ruthlessly driven to create my empire of thought leadership. I want to influence, inspire, and provide insight to people so they can experience a clear path of progress and fulfillment for them. I want my own time. I like to wake up early, spend an hour in quiet. I like no sound. I enjoy the early morning wake up. I love to follow it with a nice run and workout at the gym. This feels amazing. I want more of that. I would like the flexibility to start my work when I want to. I would like to get to work at 9 a.m. and leave at 5. I love my freedom to enjoy my space. I love my spiritual connection that continues to grow. I feel source energy, and it's amazing. I want to travel the world with my family, stay in exotic, fancy hotels, eat wonderful food, laugh with one another, cry with one another. I want to see all historical items, monuments, statues, castles, museums, fantastic experiences to have. And I ended it there. And so today, as I'm getting ready to meet a coaching client, and still haven't dove back into the business since the seminar. It'll happen. I've actually been, because I've been so in this other spiritual stuff, I was just reminded of what I want and what my why was. So if you haven't asked yourself what you want or what you'd like and desire in your life, do that. And remember, if you're a sober woman today, you've been given a second chance on life. And if you're having a hard time igniting that motivation, then let me go ahead and give you just a little thing to think about. Imagine the day before you got sober. Just think about it. Remember the misery. Remember how desperate you were to have a second chance. Remember that. And then ask yourself what your peace is worth today. For you were given a second lease on life. Take it. Run with it. You can do this. All right, so I'm done. I always finish with I'm done. That's my deal. I'm done. And if you're interested in coaching of any sort from me, I've got 2 different programs I do. You can check it out on my website, SusanDenee, DENEE.com. I got different stuff on there. The email's on there. You can reach out to me. Other than that, have an awesome day. Stay in the action. It's where all the peace and happiness is at. All right, take care. Bye.